Hi, I'm David Mann. I'm a writer, editor, and critic from Johannesburg, South Africa. And I write at the intersections of art, performance, architecture, and fiction. For the ARAK Collection, I work primarily as a writer and editor, but I also oversee all things editorial for the collection, this being the output of publications, this being the editorial platform of the website as well. So I work with a lot of writers, primarily commissioning art critics, academics, journalists to engage the collection and produce writing on the collection. I also work in an editorial capacity to work with the texts that emerge out of ARAK's art writing workshops that take place in various cities across the continent. And outside of all the editorial work, I also write myself. I write about work in the collection towards future publications and for the website itself. So coming here to Doha to experience the collection in person has been important on a number of levels. I think really getting a physical sense of the collection has been important to understand how artists work in terms of scale, in terms of material, and how this informs the sort of context they are working in, context that the work emerges from. It's also been important for me to see the collection all together like this and get a real sense of what it represents and where it's going. For me, this is tremendously exciting, viewing the collection as a platform for enabling more curatorial ability and talent on the continent, and also art writing, art criticism from the continent. So really, the collection using itself as a tool, as a platform for the development of these things, which are severely lacking, I think globally, but specifically on the African continent. So yeah, being here, spending time with the collection in person has been invaluable. There's more to see. I have not seen all of it at all, but it's been great. My experience of visiting Doha, Qatar for the first time has been hugely exciting. I get the sense that Qatar is sort of continually on the precipice of something new, of growth, expansion, while at the same time holding very closely its long and rich history as well, which is a rare thing to find a country like that, to find a city like that. I think it has tremendous infrastructure in general, but specifically for the arts. And again, I think this allows for a glimpse of a future for the arts in Qatar that is hugely exciting. I have visited most of the big galleries, museums, and cultural institutions, and they have been fantastic. The resources available are incredible, and the way that these spaces have been thought out, both in terms of how they're curated, how they present themselves to the public, how they invite the public in, but also on a kind of spatial architectural level, how they integrate themselves into the space that they are situated, has been really fascinating. And I think finally there's such a rich literary history to Qatar that I have so loved engaging with and learning about, and it's brilliant to see this history incorporated into contemporary life in the city, in the country. So both in the architecture, but also really just on an institutional level. I think this kind of rich cultural and literary history is really given pride of place, which has been excellent to see. I visited the National Library of Qatar, and it was one of my favorite experiences, was that building and the many, many books it houses, and also the many, many artifacts of language and culture and writing that it houses. That was a real highlight for me.